So what's going to break down the Trump cult? Well, frankly, I think it's complete defeat. Anything else, and they'll rise from the sewers like rats. Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Today.
Yeah, Trump is outed every other day with a new crime. And I live in Tennessee. A lot of my family and friends and neighbors are Trump supporters. We have discussions, and there is absolutely nothing I can say that sways them. And I want to know, what do you believe that would push Trump supporters over the edge? I don't even think his taxes being released, and it's showing that he's been in bed with Putin. I don't think that would do it, because I don't think they think for themselves anymore. What I think is they would immediately go to Fox or the right-wing news source and see what they were saying and how they should be feeling about this and how they were going to spin it. So that's my rant. Thank you.
Well, yeah, thank you, Deborah, and excellent points all. I told the story earlier of 1988 or 1987. I was living in Germany. Actually, it was 1979 the first time I met this guy. 1979, I met a guy who was a Nazi, an actual believer that Hitler was the right thing. He was exactly what Germany needed. And this was, 30 years after the war was over? 40 years? No, in the late 70s. It would have been a little more than 30 years after the war. He had seen the movies. He had seen the liberation of Dachau and Auschwitz. He knew exactly what had happened, and he was still a Nazi. I mean, there are people who are just like, this is like permeated their souls. And I'm not sure, I think for many of them, there's nothing you can do. Now, that said, the other thing that I learned when I got to know a bunch of elderly Germans, and I got to know a lot of them, dozens and dozens of them, that I knew well. I met far more than that, who were horrified by what happened during the war, was that the cult was broken when the war was over, when the Nazis were defeated. And the same thing was true in Japan. It took defeat to break the cult. And I think that there's a very real possibility that if Donald Trump is soundly defeated, and that's step one, and then step two, all the crimes that were committed during the 4 years of Trump's administration, whether they're actual legal crimes or they're merely crimes against democracy, right? Rolling back environmental protections to speed up global warming, which is fueling these forest fires that we're dealing with here in Oregon. The reason why my throat is so sore right now and it's hard to breathe. And people are dead. If the Biden administration can do a good job of telling Americans and the world, but telling Americans what happened, all the stuff that happened that never got publicized. A lot of it got talked about on this program, but the average American has no idea how badly this country has basically been raped and pillaged by all the lobbyists that Donald Trump put in charge of virtually every federal agency. The predators that he put in charge. If the Biden administration, if Joe Biden wins and that administration can basically wake America up the way that the United States did and the United Kingdom did, and we actually had Hollywood helped us out in this, right? And anybody in Hollywood, I know, we're on the air in Los Angeles, anybody listening, hey, this is the time to make those kind of movies like we made after World War II, saying, here's what happened in Auschwitz, here's what happened in whatever. We need to wake America up, and that has the potential to break the hold of the cult. I don't see anything else doing it.